Hi, Eric Gibaud, ericgibaud.com, and yes, the pictures you see in the introduction are the theme about this video. I'm going to explain how I made them, give you some technical details, the ingredient I use, all this. So first of all, one person, Noah, the model. Thank you so much, Noah, for posing. Second, my Fujifilm X100VI. Third, my flash Godox Senior. I actually presented it on my YouTube channel. Fourth, the space I had, and I could also add my little dog Dakota as an assistant. Okay, so I will show you at the end of the video a collage of a small short film with the 60 pictures I made during the photo shoot. Okay, so let's speak about it. Let's start. Why did I choose my Fujifilm X100VI? First of all, because the focal length is 23mm, which is the equivalent 35 in full frame, which is a wide angle. And for portrait, this is really aggressive. Deform, yeah, there is some distortion because you get close to your subject and it looks really aggressive. Okay, so first I wanted that. Second, regarding the lighting, I wanted to have some harsh light, really, shadows that are really harsh, and to have this kind of look like Terry Richardson or press photography during the years 40, 50, 60s, 70s that were using that kind of flash, okay? And that was the idea, to have something really aggressive. So this is why I asked Noah to have some poses that would be like, kind of party, disco maybe. It was not a disco, but that kind of crazy moment, crazy poses to look really aggressive. So this is why I picked that gear. Okay. Although all Fujifilm camera let you use film simulation, I could have picked a film that would simulate what people were using in the year 60s, 40s, 70s, but I decided to work in RAW. Why? Because when you light with this, you're likely to have some hot spots, so to protect them you don't want to overexpose, so after you may want to recover shadows or things like this. So I decided to work in RAW, and I developed my RAWs in Lightroom. The white balance was on 5400 Kelvin. I forced the contrast +10, and also I picked Profile Adobe Vivid, I think it's called, to give a bit of something punchy. And after in Photoshop, I retouched a bit sometime the skin, okay, but really not much. I could have done without. And also I forced a bit in some areas, the contrast a bit, to give a bit something a bit more punchy. But actually, after doing it, I realized I could have worked directly in JPEG without much problem. So yeah, so this is the idea, okay? I think this Godox Senior flash is great for this camera. Why? Because the camera is small, and if you put a standard Cobra flash, it's really high, it's unbalanced, but when you place this, it looks big, but actually when you open it, you realize that that looks big, but all this is really light. So it's well balanced, no problem. Now you realize here, I have to put the lamp here, okay? You realize that the center, it's not in the axis of the camera. So it's important that when you're going to make pictures, to take into account the orientation of your camera. When you work with a flash out of camera, you place the flash exactly where you want, the lighting where you want. But when you have it on your camera, it will be the same as the angle of your camera. So if I make a picture in horizontal, that's fine. But when I make vertical, if the model, for example, is looking towards here, that's great, because I will light the face. But if she's looking that way, I will cast a shadow of her nose on the wrong side. So it's important that very often when we make vertical picture, we make them this way. But with this technique, sometimes it will have to be this way and sometimes this way, according to the orientation of the face of the model. Take this into account. Second, when your camera has a flash on it, it means not just the orientation is affected, but also the distance with your subject will change. The lens, the light drop, the light fall off, and also the shadows, if it's harsh or not. The smaller the light source, the harsher the shadows. So it means if I go further, the relative size is smaller, so shadows will be on the neck, on the nose, all this harsher. And second, the light fall will be different. Why? Well, basically, if I expose for my hand here right now, I've got such a certain amount of light, but if I get closer, I have to expose again. If I get further, I have to expose again. So what's the difference? Well, every time you multiply the distance between your flash and your subject by 2, you divide the amount of light by 4, okay? And every time you go halfway, you multiply the amount of light that arrives by 4. It means that when you're going to expose the right light for your subject, if you close, the fall off is really fast, and when you're far, the fall off is slower. So that means that you will see that when I'm close to the model, the backdrop is darker, and when I get further, I have to put more power because she's further, okay? But more light gets to the wall also. It means the backdrop is lighter. So it's important to notice that when you're going to change the distance between your camera and your subject, the light aspect will change also. Is it a problem? Well, it depends on what you want to do, but with this style of lighting, it's not a problem at all, because I think you don't look for perfection, you look for something aggressive, but take it into account. If you see that sometimes the backdrop is lighter or darker, it depends on the distance where you are, okay? So basically, this is something you have to know and play with it. Using a wide-angle camera has some advantage and disadvantage. One thing is that many people say you get some distortion. Actually, it's not the wide angle that creates distortion. It's actually the fact that you're really close to your subject. If you get that close to my nose, it looks really big, okay? But if you're far away, it doesn't look that big. It looks as it is, real, okay? So it's important that you have to decide on the angle, knowing that the head will be larger, the feet will be longer, things like this. So play with it, decide what you want. But if you really want to get close to your subject, you will have some, the shape will not be realistic, and that may be fun. But if you wanted to have some realistic body proportion, that's not the angle to use, that's not the focal length to use, unless you step back and then you reframe your picture if you want the person to fill the frame, okay? Second, the fact that you will be really close means that, as I explained before with the light fall off, if you have some elements that are really clear color, really light color, that are really close to the camera, it means you have the risk to overexpose them, to have really high light in there, and have the rest of the body underexposed. So make sure that the person, if in the case of Noah, she had some white tights, so nothing to do, but if I put a knee first close to the camera, likely it will be a hot spot there, and maybe the face will be underexposed. So make sure how you place the person, how you send the person to pose, to make sure that not just the shape and the distortion is controlled, but also the lighting. So it's important, if it's first time you do it, I recommend you don't use really light colors, no white. Ask the person, even if colors of what she wears is different, or he wears is different, different colors, but it's the same tone, so you don't have so much problem with exposure with white in first in front of your camera, okay, first close to your camera, okay? But don't forget that this kind of picture is for fun. It's not really perfection. You want to look for an atmosphere, for an ambience. So really, it's not drama. if it's not perfectly exposed, but obviously you don't want to have everything underexposed or everything overexposed. So try to take care with that so it gives some aggressive look, but not that many hot spots, not that many overexposed areas. Okay. Take into account that this flash is 100% manual, no TTL, nothing, and it means that I had to change the power depending on the distance I was, or I could also change the aperture. For me, changing the power is fast, no problem, and you normally do a series of a distance, and then you get closer, then you get further, and just change the power. You can also play with the aperture of your camera. That will get more light in or less light in, but take into account that if you play with the aperture, that will change the depth of field. But if you go further, closer also. So it's your decision if you want to play with the power of the flash or play with the aperture. Test it, see the difference, but there are the two things you can play with to get the right lighting and with a manual flash, okay? Take into account that we used to see lighting from the top, from your house or your ceiling or the sun on the street. That means that when you light from the bottom, it looks horrible, like the exorcist, and it will make horrible mark, stain under your eyes, all this. So that's not nice. So if you want to make picture from under the level of the face of the model, it's really important you tell the model to move forward that way, so she's not receiving the light from the bottom but from the front. Okay, from the top will be ideal, okay, but if you want to be at the bottom, it's lower than her, that's complicated. Okay, so this is why I told Noah to move this way, so lighting is getting to her face. Okay, obviously if you're standing up above the model, that's no problem anymore. Okay, but take into account if you take the picture from the floor, the person must lean forward to get the picture, at least, if not from the top, at least from the front. Okay, that's really important. So I'm going to show you the result. I made a small montage with 60 pictures. I shot actually 140 pictures. Some are really similar, so I'll remove them. So I'll show you right now this small montage, and then it takes about 2 minutes with music, and then we come back to give my conclusion.
Swagger down the street with your red lips and funky beat. You better hold your head up to the sky. I'm gonna roll with you till the day I die. Hey, swing those hips around. Can't stop, roll back down. My ladies, short, tall, thin or wide, always down and ready to ride. One by one, billion by billion, been holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Time for a girl on time. Whether you're ready or not, time for a break free of history. This train is racing straight ahead. No man can do like I can. I'm the queen of the land. Haters gonna hate. Won't be sorry now. Shoot me down, but I'll rise again. I'm laying down the law and you've been served. One by one, billion by billion, been holding up half the sky. Raise your hand if you're ready and willing, if you know it's time. Time for a girl on time.
So my conclusion, well, really I think it is fun to play with that. You don't need to have this flash, you don't need to have this camera, you can do it with any other camera. What's important is if you use a standard Cobra, maybe get a small softbox, the really small one, diffuser, because this is a bit larger, so it's a bit less harsh shadows, okay? I think it's nicer to get the light, but you can use another flash. I think that even if you are not fan of this technique or this aspect, it's good to practice it, because maybe one day you cannot remove your flash out of your camera because of the situation. You do need some lighting and you have a wide angle. For example, sometime in wedding photography, you use this technique. Obviously, you don't have to ask people to get mad, to get crazy and have fun, but still, you may need this technique. So although it's not maybe a type of lighting you like, if you practice it, you will know how to orientate your camera in a way that doesn't look that aggressive, or use the right angle, all this. So I recommend you play with that, have fun, try with a model or with any situation you want, and enjoy it, because the idea of this is to have fun, and obviously if it helps you learning something, that's always good. So thank you so much, Noah, for posing. Thank you so much to you for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. There's a button down here and there's a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, ericgibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave you links of my gear on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept, Sandmarc, and Flashes by Westcott, more affiliated links, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.